Greetings. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm John. This is Chris.
Hi, I'm back. It's been a while,
He's
guys.
back.
It's been too long.
It's been too long.
It's good to have
It's
you,
so
sir.
exciting. Yeah.
And we're interviewing Steve tonight. He is our honored guest at
All
this
right.
table.
So I don't know what to do.
Thank you
Founder
for
and
joining us.
guest.
Founder and
guest.
guest.
We're doing a
Fantastic.
deep dive right into Steve and his program and kind of how it came to be.
Yeah.
If I
Okay.
understand correctly.
And this is an episode that I've wanted to do for a while. Like, I've really been interested in getting a chance to ask you some of these questions, get your thoughts on both some of the backstory and what's important to you now about this.
Yeah.
And yeah, just thanks for making this happen. Really appreciate it.
No, my pleasure.
First question that I had, because not everybody knows what we do here. Not everybody is familiar with the program. It's called Ignite, so if we mention it, you know what that is. Tell us a little bit about what it is and just kind of what brought you to put it together.
Okay, great question. It's wonderful to be here. The set is beautiful.
Who did the lighting?
Yeah, who does all the lighting and
Somebody
everything?
professional.
The
my
production
gosh.
value of this thing.
Oh my gosh.
This explains why we haven't done this in a while, because I can't get over myself. All right, so I've been an entrepreneur for my whole life. Some people understand a little bit about my backstory, but I have entrepreneur blood. Didn't know what that meant. It's something I kind of coined way later in my life, because when I was going to just grade school, they don't teach like entrepreneurship. You see other businesses being run, but the teachers don't teach that stuff. That's my point. Okay, so. Because of that blood, I had, and when I finally made the decision to go ahead and get started in business, I had to learn so many lessons, right? And as my business became more successful, it started falling apart on itself because I had too many things to do. I had one business in particular that I had to actually get rid of. I literally just shut the doors, right? It was a business that would just the phone would ring and you would just I didn't have repeating customers, so it was kind of an easy thing to just kind of cut off because it was taking so much of my time. And I had another business also that was doing well, and I couldn't juggle all them balls. I'm like, just shut that one down. Shut it down.
How long of a span of time is this? Like, how long were you running this before you got to this point?
Well, it's probably just a good question. 18 months or something like that. So it didn't take long for it to go. It was also within the wedding business, so I just had clients, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And it was an easy business to shut off. It didn't disrupt the market necessarily, but I'm like, I just don't want to do this thing anymore. And it was successful at the time, Chris.
We'll go into. I think it's important as we're talking about businesses and stuff. What was the business? How'd you get into that, and why'd you cut it off?
Okay. Oh, it was a tuxedo business. So that was, this one. I know this does all go to answer your first question,
yeah.
But yes, just as a side note, so it was a tuxedo business. So I'm in the wedding business, wedding photography. I also owned a dress shop for many, 13 years for the dress shop. And I just kind of attached it to that. Just opened up the doors and said, we also offer tuxedos. And when people would come in looking for dresses or looking for photography, they would say, oh, we also need tuxedos. Perfect. Why don't we just go ahead and place that order? So then when I fulfilled the last order, I stopped taking orders, and then all I had to do to officially close it was just fulfill the last one.
Right.
And then I was just no longer doing it. I took tuxedos out of my building, and people didn't think I offered it anymore, and no one asked. So that's why it was an easy one to shut down, but it became very, very busy. And the key thing, biggest reason why I had to shut it down is because the tuxedo business is very busy when I'm very busy with wedding photography. They both have their same peak, and that's what made it really, really difficult.
And you had both of those. You had the tuxedo and the wedding photography. You were in charge of both of those, right?
Yeah.
So you had your hands in both. And was it just the sheer volume of work? Was that kind of
Yes.
the thing that was you're pulling in all directions same time?
Yes.
Okay.
Now it was fun to sell the tuxedos because there was a bunch of dudes coming in. I would offer beer and we just whatever music you guys wanted, we'd made it. It was a blast. And I already had relationships with a lot of the grooms, and then now this just their friends. So it was just a laugh riot, constant laugh riot. But then when the tuxedos would come in, I would now I have to wait for them to come in individually, try them on. If there was any alterations, I had to handle all that, reorder, do whatever. But thank goodness we were like that. We set the record, or I don't know if we had the record, but our returns were very low because I didn't want to deal with returns. So I took extra time to make sure they were right. The only mistakes they ever were was something in the warehouse, not one of our measurements. So it was very rare when there was a mistake, But anyway, so it just became too busy, and I'm just like, I got to shut this whole thing down. But okay, so anyway, some of the lessons that I learned when business got to be really, really busy, I'm like, I can't do it all. So I started farming things out, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, I came across a book that taught me about something called roles and goals. That it's nearly impossible to do everything, right? But you should do the things you're really good at. And it's one of the modules that's in my program. And I started sharing these ideas that I was reading. I don't remember the name of that book. I wish I could. I can't go back through all of them, but I know I read it. And I started sharing it with my other entrepreneur friends. And they're like, this is fantastic. I've never heard of any of this stuff. I'm like, unless you're reading about it, how are you supposed to pick these things up, right? So I learned some lessons from other entrepreneurs and then started applying it to my business. At the end of that meeting, I just had them over here. I was at my studio at the time. I said, my other studio, I said, come on over for coffee and let's, a little hot chocolate, whatever you guys drink, and let's just talk business for a little bit. And they're like, cool, let's just hang out. And 2 hours later, we were still talking about it, and they're like, this is fantastic. So then they said, what else do you know? I'm like, well, let's get together next week and we'll talk about something else. So I just started bringing up topics and things like this. And at some point I said, hey, I should probably videotape these things. So I videotaped 52 episodes. So it's about 52 times 2 hours. So it's like a lot. Some of the meetings went.
Do that math.
Yeah, 104. Okay. You're right.
Entrepreneur blood.
Entrepreneur blood. I failed math.
We really brought you here for a surprise math exam.
Well, you could have helped me out there.
This is funny to watch.
Did I get it right?
52 times 2.
Studio
That
audience. We have
is.
teachers in the studio audience.
So there was a real growing demand for this. Then there were a lot of people that were interested. You were filming some of this, put a lot of it out there.
Yeah.
Okay. Got
Yeah, and I made a lot of different episodes. It was stuff that I would find interesting. I read a book called The Power of Charm, and I came up with the topic. I'm like, what's the difference between charm and charisma? And we talked about it for an hour and a half. I thought that was really good. So I would bring certain topics, and I would just it was kind of like a panel, but it was before podcasts were around. Yeah, we apologize for the sound difference.
Jamie made a mistake.
Yes. We had one of our cameras shut off briefly, but we are back. Okay, so where was I talking? Oh, we were talking about the charm versus charisma and stuff like
And
that.
the groups that you'd started.
Yeah. So it was 52 episodes. I don't know. I think it was before podcasts were popular. I don't remember, but I think 3 of them are posted online somewhere, and I might have one view. And it's when I watched it once. Maybe. Yeah. But anyway, how Ignite came along, to get to your question, my friends who are also entrepreneurs wanted more information out of me. This is really cool. This is really cool. And they're like, again, start filming these things. And then someone said, hey, why don't you make a formal program out of this? This is some pretty cool topics. So during COVID is when I really started thinking about it. And I originally called it the Dominators, because when I got originally in business, I had someone said I couldn't do something. So then I wanted to go after them, basically, after them, okay, the person, and dominate the market, so I would pretty much put them out of business. So it was very insulting the way they did it. I just didn't like it. So that's what it was originally called. And then I had I think 12 or 13 entrepreneurs actually go through the program. Once I fully developed it, I was vetting it. It was the founder's launch is what I called it. And then I had a couple guys that were through there that said, this is really great. Who needs this? My son. Could you take the business side out of it? Because not all modules are driven by business. It's just about kind of getting your act together and taking your business or your life from some sort of fog. You don't know exactly what to do, to some sort of focus, right? That's what it ultimately became. And then, and now I just, again, like I said, take some of the business out of it, or skip over the business depending on who's in the class. I go a little bit quicker on the business side. Unless there's an entrepreneur in there, then I'll dab into it just a little bit more. But that's really it. And I changed the name to Ignite because I thought that's cool. It's what's that moment right before the spark? It's kind of, when the chemical reaction is kind of having that exact moment when it ignites, that right there. So I thought, call it Ignite, because that's what I want to be part of. I want to be part of that thing right before their life changes and takes off. And then I shared it with Chris, and he's like, oh, Ignite. Everything is named Ignite. And I thought I was being creative, just like everyone else.
Hey,
it's like when you name your kid something, and then everyone that year names their kid that same. You're like, what the heck?
Yeah,
why are there so many Jadens?
Yeah, it's like, what the
Yeah, Jaden,
Where did that come from?
Hayden. Yeah.
Yeah, no. Well, one of the things that I think is really cool, I think everyone that's been through the program feels that moment that you're talking about. And Ignite is a good word for it. It's kind of that coalescing of energy before the actual combustion, right? So I think that's aptly named. One of the things, I've heard some of this before, but one of the things that stood out to me is you really correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like some of this you wrote to your past self. All these modules are things that you obviously studied because the education system didn't help you to study them or didn't even let you know about them. There was a huge kind of gap, a Steve-shaped gap in what was being taught, and you had to go out and fill that. And so
Yes.
in a lot of ways, this is kind of like a rebuttal to that initial problem that you felt. I don't know if you've ever thought about it that way. What do you think about that framing of it?
Well, could you rephrase the question? Because you talk so
Yeah.
wonderfully, and I get like engaged so much mentally into what you're saying.
Calm
So-
down.
I have that effect
exactly.
on people.
Yes,
sometimes.
exactly. You have that effect on people. So ask the question again.
Would you say that these lessons are
Yes.
what you wish your past self had?
Of course, yes, 100%. I've countless times I've said on the podcast, the school system has failed me. Right? They didn't teach me the things I needed to know, and this, I built this program because I need this program, and I feel like it's a lot of the keys to success. And I wish I could have. Right? I know some of the question, or a question might be like, what would you do different in your life? I don't know what I would do different. I had to learn these lessons, man. Right? But now I have like some hardcore things that I can share with people if they're thinking about getting into business. Like, okay, here's 50 landmines. Don't go anywhere near them. You have to figure out the rest of it yourself, though, right?
Would you say, like, for each of the larger modules, like, or for each concept, would you say that there was kind of an event or a story, or was there something specific that kind of brought each of them about? Like, you're solving a specific problem, or were they things that just along the way you realized, like, oh, that speaks to me. Like, I should definitely, incorporate some of that, include some of that.
Right. Yes. Okay. That's a great question.
Tell me
by
about
the way.
inspiration. What's inspired all this?
Okay, so when I was about 25 when I came across the book, and it was just because we were driving a long road trip with other business people, and they're like, have you ever read the book Personality Plus? It's got this really cool quiz in there about understanding personalities. I'm like, never heard of it. I'm like, well, let's just do the test. So they ran through the test, and it described me. Here's 4 words. Which one describes you best? And you go through that through 40 different 40 different questions. And at the end, I'm like, it says, and this is who you are. This is how you're wired. And here's the chapter on that. And it was absolutely fascinating. They like nailed my personality just by answering these questions. I never knew that, because in school you're taught you have to be good at everything. When you actually have actual skill sets, things that God gave you gifts that you should be using. So until you actually ask those questions. So that's why that's the first module. Because number one, it's fun for me. I love the personalities. I think it's cool. Gave me so much insight. Why was I so sensitive? Why was I affected so much by lyrics? Things like this, because I was musical and I understood poetry and things like this that made sense to me. Right? Why do I feel like out of place? Why, I know I could run that better. I just had these natural leadership qualities and stuff like this. And why am I the center of attention? Because I like making my friends laugh, right? Good, Steve's here. Now we can have a little bit more fun at the party, right? Like that kind of thing. But I didn't know I could use those skills. So we have Okay. We have friends in the audience. That's a studio. Yeah, exactly. This is my show.
This is his
Okay, but anyway, so that's kind of how that module, because that was so incredible, the understanding that I got from that. I'm like, I have to share this because I was 25 before I found out, and I know sometimes they run it through like grade schools now. Great, good, finally. They didn't do that when I was a kid. And then what would be the next one? Values. I read a book on understanding your values. We all have them, but I never defined them ever. And I was probably in my 30s before I understood, you're right, I do have values. And I thought, it's things I can stand on. I could put it on a business card. If you run a tuxedo shop, it should be, your values should probably be style, right? Accuracy, friendly place, feels like home. Like, this is a great place. If you're scouring the internet, I need a tuxedo. Oh, I like that tagline. That seems like a fun place to go to. These are the things we value here.
Helps you stand out too.
Yeah. I think, if you're being a physical therapist, I think accuracy would be a good thing, like proper diagnosis. Like, I take that stuff very serious.
Super important.
And I'm all, like you could say, I'm also disciplined. I'm going to help you out with that discipline aspect. Good, because I'm going to need some help because I don't want to do any of it. Great. That's really good stuff. A sense of belonging with the things that you do, Chris. You bring a bunch of kids together. The first thing they're thinking about is, am I safe? And do I belong here? Mm-hmm. Yes, you do, because it says right on our wall that you'll be safe and you belong here. Man alive, that lets people. So that would be the second one. Then purpose, because I think with the success specifically, we know it when we see it, but we don't actually define what it actually could be. And whatever your definition is, good. Let's put it into, write it down, set some goals on it, and let's go accomplish it. Like the whole program makes sense because everything links together. And there's 13 modules, all the way up to like, what do you do when you are successful? What should you do with the money, right?
There's so much good stuff in what you said. I just want to pause and like dive into some of that, or at least kind of reflect some of it back to you. So you're right. The education system really pushes you to be good at everything. It's like you have a whole report card of subjects as varied as math and geography and grammar and reading and all that stuff.
And history, throw that in there too, which is just memorizing things that happened.
Not everybody even thinks, in a way that's driven to excel at one of those, let alone all of them, right? And we are all incredibly different, and it really does kind of set, I think, a false sense of expectation of what we should be capable of or what we should be good at. So I like that one of the things that brought you to this is acknowledging that we are different and there are ways that we can excel. And for the areas where we don't, that's what other people are for.
Mm-hmm.
You may not, and even if you could excel at all the things, you don't physically have the time or the resources. Outsourcing, that's one of the things that kind of was driving you crazy about having so many rods in the fire with the businesses. You kind of had to, learn how to outsource and delegate certain things and, even focus on which ones were the most important. It's also cool that the values, not only do they help define you as a person, but they help you to define your space. Like you said, your shop, it's going to have a certain vibe. It's going to have certain characteristics. Those things are appealing, attracts in a lot of instances. People that think like you are often going to be drawn to the authenticity of your expression, right? The part of yourself you put out there. They're going to pick up on that, and you're going to be working with more people that you want to work with.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And along the lines with Chris, I'm going to get Chris involved in here a little bit. This is not true for everybody. Okay, so the accountants who actually do some creative stuff, this is not for you, but it's most accountants. Just like the math, this stuff has to add up. It needs to make sense. They're very logical. A plus B equals AB. No. Or something like that. No, BA. B. The root of all evil is the square root of all evil.
The square root of, I remember that one.
Okay, but along the lines with like Chris, you've been put in a very powerful or a very important position at church, and I just want to encourage you, like your personality style is all about like social and having fun and doing all that kind of stuff, and yet there's stuff even with your own job that you're like, I don't want to do this. Yeah. I'm not good at it. Please, can someone do it? Because now it's consuming 20-something hours of your life. And 15 of that is just hemming and hawing, thinking I can't do this. How do I get out of it, right? And then, it's like, then why should we do that? So it's similar to like in school. He is really good at math, but he can't remember history. So then get him out of history. That's how I look at it. Or physics and like algebra and. One of my greatest stories is, I was a great designer when I was doing floor plans. I could do the art. I could see it. I could draw it. And I would get very high grades with this. But I couldn't make the building stand. I didn't know how big the footer needed to be and how deep it and wide and the arches need to be a certain degree. And I'm like, I can't do that part. I don't know how to do it. I have zero interest in it. I get overwhelmed with it. So I just kept drawing. And then they said, well, because you can't do that, you can't be an architect. So I stopped it. That is so sad to me. And I can easily cry over that, very easily, because I wish he would have just said, talk to Timmy over there. He's really good at math and he can't draw. He can't draw for anything. Sorry.
Could have paired you up. Could have been working together instead of
Could have been working. That's what I call it.
Separately.
Partner up, man.
Yeah.
Partner up, right? So where are you like weak in your job and who could you actually, yeah.
Thank you for that segue. I think the important thing is I think as a culture, we don't really like to talk about our weaknesses, and we like to only kind of show our strengths and stuff. And so I think that's where you get a lot of people trying to like not have weaknesses or hide them and be like, no, I have all this. Look at all the strengths I have. I can do so many things. And we value people who are like, oh, could do all this stuff. Wow, they're so talented and cool. But if you can learn your strengths and your weaknesses together, they can be extremely powerful. Because then you find the people who can complement them. I'm currently trying to figure out at work where I'm like, all right, what can I give up? Because this, like you said, this 20 hours is just killing me and it should take 5 hours, but it's taking me 20, can I give that off so I can keep doing the things that I love to do? And so I'm in process, trying to figure out what that looks like. Because it's important, but it's taken some time for me where I'm like, I'm learning what my strengths are. I'm learning what my weaknesses are in this role. And it has, specifically this role is a full-time role. It's only been, 8 months. So trying to take that and go, all right, this past 8 months, I'm realizing I really hate doing these things, and I need someone to help me. So that has been extremely helpful to have that perspective and to go, I don't need to learn everything. I don't need to do everything.
And it requires a few things. Like you have to know yourself. You have to know what you like. You have to know what you're good at. You also have to kind of have some awareness of maybe things that you dislike or are not as proficient in so that you can work with other people. But it also requires the ability to not just be different, but to also be able to know the things that unite you with other people. They also bring your values to the forefront, and people that have shared values will come in and work alongside you. Yeah. And that's where your differences shine, right? Because in a space where people are working toward a common goal, that's where diversity, I would say, is a strength, right? If you didn't even want the same things as the other person you're working with, you're going to be butting heads. Yeah. But if you want the same things and you each have something different to bring to the table, it's an incredible asset. It's an incredible way to approach that situation.
Totally. And I think the part of that too is when you find people who have the same values, you're more comfortable giving up control. Because I think part of it is like, well, I want it done a certain way. I'm like, well, I can't do it. So I'm going to maybe try to find someone, but they might have a different vision if they have that same goal or whatever, same values. Then I'm going to trust them that their vision actually might be better than mine, and however that might look or how that might be played out. So I mean, that's specific to whatever situations you're in, but I think for me, I'm learning how to give up control of some things that I'm not good at. And if there's a humbling in that and being like, oh, I guess I'm not that guy, it'd be cool to be the A type who just checks their boxes and, and cleans their desk.
The fact that you can even approach it that way is a strength, because a lot of people do feel like they have to have it together. They have to, be good at all the things to avoid criticism, to avoid attention that they're not looking for, to please the people around them. The fact that you can, put that aside for the sake of the mission or whatever you're working on is a strength, I would say. Absolutely. Yeah. Now there's a quote attributed to Einstein, which I'll attempt to paraphrase, in which he says, everyone is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it's going to spend its whole life believing that it's stupid. Yeah. And that kind of encapsulates it, right? It's like, like you're maybe not supposed to do that given the way that you're made, but once you find the place that you're made for, and then you're swimming where you're supposed to be, probably with the other fishes, right? Surrounded by people that are like you in some ways, right? That's an impactful moment. That's a moment, I would say, that's really facilitated by what you've put together. I've felt that in my life. I think I can speak for you too, Chris, when I say that. Yeah.
I just had like an epiphany or something like that I'm really thinking about right now. I'm wondering, because we do have a teacher in the studio audience, if there's a certain percentage of the trouble students, the ones that are just like, they don't want to be here. I wonder how many of them might have entrepreneur blood and this is so stupid to me. It just doesn't make sense. I have to memorize all these things. It doesn't make sense. But they don't know they're an entrepreneur yet, and they're too young to understand it anyway, right? But they're like, I'm like, I can't wait to get out of here. Well, what are you going to do? I don't know. Go sell gum on the corner. I'll do something, right? They're just thinking about something, but they don't have enough ideas yet. And I just wonder if do you think that might be true-ish?
Well, I think if you look at what makes an entrepreneur, what is that sort of definition? A lot of it is independence, your own drive to accomplish things, self-motivation that's not by other people, telling you what to do. And so when you're in the school system, those aren't necessarily qualities that help you swim along with the other fishes. They make you kind of stick out and bristle some. So I think there is some, a thought there of it's hard to fit into the sort of cookie cutter system when your blood makes you want to think outside the box, want to think of a different way to do that. And I don't need you to think of a different way to do that. I need you to do it the way that I asked you to do it. So yeah, I do think that's true. The other side of that, though, is, you know, every kid is looking for connection and looking for someone to recognize their value. And so regardless of whether they fit in or not, into the cookie cutter or out of the cookie cutter, you know, they're looking for a sense of belonging, and they're looking for their tribe, and maybe they're not finding it right now. And that's part of kind of trying to figure out who you are, but having people that believe in you and see that value in you is important.
Agreed. There, I think we just fixed the school system for all the troubled hoodlums.
It was that
Start
easy.
businesses.
Steve's going to start a school for kids who can't read good and other stuff too.
and can't do simple math. Perfect. 5 times 52, Chris. What is it? Oh, see, wow.
The square root of evil.
Square root of evil. Okay,
And-
JK, back
and
to you.
I was just going to ask you about values. I was
Sure.
going to say, what are the few of the things that you value, and why are they the best for you?
Oh, well, I don't think I can help my values. Like, it's just the way I understand life. I think they're gifts. That's a good. That second part of that one. I know what my values are. I've got and I actually write them down so I don't have to go through my head. Let me think about.
Give us some
of these.
examples. What do you got?
I value accomplishment, which is different because I used to say I value success, but I'm like, I don't know if I value success more than I value accomplishment, because I get much satisfaction from cutting my own lawn. Like, it feels good to do that. You're like, this looks really great, and stand outside, drink your coffee the next morning. You're like, man, that grass looks awesome. That feels good. You take something that's a little bit chaotic and make it look really nice again. So I really like accomplishment. I also value humor. I like being funny, but more along those lines is I like laughing. I like when other people are funny too. Like, life is just too short for that kind of thing. One of my strongest values is loyalty. It is a blessing and a curse. I can assure you of that. For those who understand loyalty, you know how much it can hurt you, right? When someone betrays. That's a very terrible place to be. Creativity. God said you're going to be an artist. Michael, something funny? No. Okay. Our studio audience is losing it over there.
Derailing
Good thing we love laughter
Exactly.
and humor.
Right. Friendliness. I value that. I like when people are friendly. I like walking into a room. I like meeting friendly people. I'm in the business of just meeting people all the time. On an average weekend, I'll meet 150 people, something like that. It's a wedding. I have to interact with almost all of them at some point, whether it's just taking simple pictures and stuff like that. You can't just walk up grumpy. You got to be kind of friendly. So, but it's my time to shine. I like it, actually. And then I also value respect. And the reason why I write that one down is because I hate disrespect so much. You disrespect me, we have a major problem. But I'd rather be treated neutral, like not respect. Well, like not disrespected, not respected. Neutral is better for me than being respected. I don't, I'll earn respect all day. Give me some time, I'll earn it. But man, disrespect, it can come out real fast, and gosh, do I hate it. And then other things that I put as well that are very important to me, especially when running businesses and stuff like that. Like, I'm dependable and reliable. When I get hired, I will be there. I will do those things. I'm determined. I'm not necessarily fully disciplined, but I am definitely determined. Like, I will eventually get this thing done. I super value encouragement. I love when people have ideas. I love putting my own candle into their candles and making their idea better. Yeah, it's a terminology. It's a
I don't
story.
think you should say that. You probably should cut that one.
Okay. What I mean by that is, when you have an idea and you have a little tiny candle, I don't want to bring it to somebody and then go, we're not going to do that. I'd rather wow, that's a really good idea. And then they light a candle and then we add a candle to it. Like, that makes it better. Yeah. Well, just for clarity.
Why, Chris? What were you thinking you meant?
I don't know. Ask Leah.
Right. All right. I value growth, peace.
Yeah.
Peace is a big one. Like, when your life gets past, I could keep chasing another zero, but I just don't want to. Peace is so valuable now in my life. I just love a peaceful life.
brings you
Leadership,
peace?
Understanding, and vision. What brings me peace is like how I would define like success, basically. A peace would be, I know a lot of people can relate to this, would be, what's your debt status? Like, where are you at with how much money you owe, right? If it's a ridiculous number and you don't have enough and you feel like you're constantly falling behind, that is very unpeaceful. That feeling, that's the opposite of what I'm talking about, right? So that's what I say. That's why I value peace.
Yeah.
I don't like fighting with people. I don't look for, what do you call it, confrontation. I'd rather have someone, especially your like partners in business and partners in your relationship, like more intimate relationships and stuff. Man, when it's unpeaceful, it's terrible, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think everyone who's lived that can say yes to that.
Yes.
One of the things that I like that you do is when you talk about values, you don't just lay out what the value is, you'll also describe what it feels like when it's not there. And I think that absence, that vacuum, really does kind of clarify, it really brings to light what you're missing. I don't know if that is a way that you would think about values too, Chris, or if you have a different way of approaching that.
Yeah. I think, values, I know Steve kind of said like, you're like, I don't know where they come from, or like, they're just kind of a part of you. And I think there's an aspect of that, but I feel like it's just like a big soup of things that you kind of keep throwing in there throughout your like life. And then some stuff just is in there and sticks. You're like, hey, this is good. I like this. And then some stuff you're like, no, we got to get that out, So as you're kind of like, I don't know. And that's not a great analogy, soup, but you know what I mean?
Well, no, it
There's
is,
some kind of,
because
like,
some flavors are stronger than others in a soup. Some, you hit it right away, it's salty. It's like, oh yeah, I taste that right away. But then you take another sip, you savor it. It's like, oh, I can tell some of the veggies in there. I can tell some of the other things. So yeah.
Pomegranate.
Little pomegranate soup, maybe.
Pomegranate
Yeah,
soup.
it's just like, well, I'm thinking like beef stew soup with pomegranate in it. Like it maybe you could taste it, probably not. In other words, that's a value that's like,
There's a hierarchy. There's some
Does
that
that make
stand
sense?
out more than others.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if you're a chef or a cook and you can kind of clarify what we're getting at here. Please leave a comment.
I have to call my people. I don't know about that one.
Call your culinary people. See what they got for us. But yeah, no, one of the things that I like about what you said there is there's an element of time, because it is about what sticks around. It is about kind of like asking that question a little bit to yourself over and over, and tracing a through line on what's been important. Like when I've made decisions that were big decisions, why did I make them in the past? And, did it lead to something good? Did it lead to a situation where I was dissatisfied? Is it possible that I valued the wrong thing if that happened? Or maybe I valued the right thing and I wasn't acting in accordance with that. You can learn a lot about yourself by sitting with something for some time and seeing what sticks.
Yeah. And your values change over time, right? Your values at 25, Steve, are probably not your values today. Correct. There's some similar threads, maybe of loyalty and that kind of stuff, but some of those things kind of come in and out. And so I think, it's important to keep assessing and evaluating and thinking through and being like, all right, where am I? And that's why one of the reasons I do love Ignite is it's timeless, in that I can go through it multiple times. I can go through it regularly. It can be something that I'm like, let me come back to this. If I'm trying to figure something out or solve a problem or something, I can kind of use the program or bend it a little bit towards the problem or the thing I'm working on, especially with a business or building a team or culture and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I've said since doing the program is that you really help people to ask a few big questions. You really help them to ask, who am I? What do I want? And how am I going to get it? Mm-hmm. And those are relevant to everybody at every stage. And so, you should kind of go through cycles where you ask yourself those questions again. The Ignite framework really helps with that. And I say that as somebody who genuinely believes that. I think that that's what people mean when they talk about living intentionally. We hear that thrown around a lot. Like, what does it mean to live intentionally? Are you being intentional with your time, with the people you're with? Mm-hmm. But I feel like it's addressing those important questions. It's keeping good support people in your life who help you with that. One of the questions that I had for you, Steve, is who are some of the people that keep you on track, or who have kept you on track over the years with the goals, with the things that are important?
Right. Okay. Well, I would say close friends. Be careful with who you share some of your goals with, because you'll have derailers come out of the woodwork immediately. But people who actually believe in you. So I would say I have a general list of people that I am very comfortable sharing with them what it is I'm trying to do, because I know they're going to listen and give me some encouragement. Right. And then more specifically, closer to me, I would have people who can actually help me. Like a creative person who can create brochures if I'm creating, if I'm doing some extra marketing, once you start making money, it's like I have what I call a financial advisor, someone who can actually help me with that kind of stuff. Long term, am I doing the right thing? Someone who's been down that road a little bit further and says, and I ask them 5-6 questions, like, yes, keep doing the things you're doing. It's just like reassurance that I'm doing it right, because otherwise, who else are you going to ask? And you'd be surprised if you just kind of let it play out, how many mistakes you can actually make that you shouldn't. Just ask people that. I would say I have like some health advisors, people that keep me tuned up, keep the joints moving and stuff like this. Making sure I'm eating salad and stuff, eating healthy.
Little pomegranate soup.
Little pomegranate soup. That's delicious. Delicious. It's going to be chapter 9 of my book. The square root of all evil.
It's just a recipe book,
right? Exactly. Okay, so of course I have a spiritual advisor. That's a really okay. Are we done goofing?
Yes.
Okay. Because I actually want to join that aspect of the conversation.
We're never done goofing, Steve.
Right, exactly.
But do continue.
But yeah, so spiritual advisor, Pastor Gary, who's in my life, who really helps me become a better man of noble character, right? And then of course 10 men's group, which is led by Chris currently, and that has been, it's like I feel like it's put a hedge of protection around me. It's really allowed. Given me some extra strength where I would maybe have normally been a little weaker because of the credibility. It just keeps everything on track, man. That's how I'm looking at it. So what I say, so I got my creative, my health, my money, my spiritual, and that's the kinds of things I look for. And then, and then having a person in my life who is an immediate amount of immediate encouragement. I can talk to her all the time, and she just a suitable helper. Suitable, is that the word I like to use? Yes, helper, suitable. Like not a suitable helper. It's not a suitable helper, right?
It's not you, Mike.
He's getting a little excited though.
Right. Although you're helping me very well with the camera work.
We do appreciate that.
And occasionally with the camera's turning off, so you're fine. But at least you let me know.
It is very helpful.
At least you let me know. I've worked with other people who have thank goodness it wasn't me personally, but they were there just to record sound and action. Okay, they do the whole thing. Okay, and scene, perfect. And they look down and they're like, "Did you get all the sound?" And they're like, "Yeah."
Oh no!
Packed everything up. A week later, go look at the stuff. No sound. And you knew it. And you knew it. Now, it wasn't my project. That's just what I heard. That's terrible to do somebody. You know what I would have done? Oh my gosh, I screwed up. We have to do it again. And everything's still set up. The person's still there. We could have easily done it. That's what I would have done. So I thank you for letting me know that the camera did shut off and we were losing the wide shot, and then we fixed it. So for all of our fans.
Mike,
were talking about me.
Exactly. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so that's how I look at it. That's who I surround myself with. And then encouraging friends like you and Chris and Mike and Leah and, Olivia. Yes, Olivia too. Yeah, Olivia. Sorry, she got mentioned.
You've said a lot of good stuff about like the people that keep you on track. Like you did mention, like generally you want them to be knowledgeable in a way that's beneficial to you. Like they should have been down that road in some way or have some insight that can help you with the thing that you're working on. So yeah.
And we address this in the program, man. It's so important. It's absolutely important. And it's not the first thing we talk about because you're not there yet. We talk about it later.
Because like how many people go to a friend or family member that doesn't know anything about finances, doesn't know anything about having a good relationship, right? If it were right in front of them, like doesn't know anything about what it means to take like advantage of a good opportunity versus like taking risk that isn't justified, that doesn't make sense for you. Like, and then they got advice from that person that led them down a terrible path. And then they think like, well, that didn't work out. Shouldn't have tried that. And it's like, well, maybe you should have tried it in a different way. And if you'd gone to somebody who could have told you how, it would have played out differently. So who you go to is one of the best things that you can do to be successful.
Yes. Yes, along those lines, you don't go to your mechanic for banking questions. You don't go to your banker for mechanic questions. Find the experts, man.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And yet we'll talk to X person in our life. They have no experience with it, but you just kind of trust them, and they give you terrible advice because they don't know. It's not a good way to do it.
Even though you took success out and you kind of swapped it for a refined version of what you were thinking for your values, which was accomplishment, success is important, and in some ways, achieving those values could be defined as success. I've given the example of like a measuring tape and how you can use that to figure out how large or small something is, and your speedometer tells you how fast you're going. And one of the questions that I've wanted to ask you for a while is, like, personally, what do you find to be a metric for success? How would you measure that for yourself?
Okay, so this is my personal opinion and how I measure my own personal success. How debt-free are you? What do you owe? Because having massive amounts of debt is overwhelming, and most people can relate. It just sucks. It just sucks, especially when you don't have enough to pay for it. So I think being debt-free is a really good measure of success. Another thing would be, how liquid are you? Like, how much do you have in actual savings that you can get immediately? I'm not talking about stock market stuff. Like, what can you, you see a hot rod or cool motorcycle or something like that. You're like, oh, I've always wanted one of those. Do you have enough money? You can just do it. Just get the thing. I like that kind of liquidity. If that's the right word.
Yeah.
Similar to like my pomegranate soup. I like it to be like a little runny.
A little liquid.
Little bit. Okay. Health. That. How healthy are you? Boy, when you're not healthy, we take it so much for granted, man, until we're really sick, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, I want my health back. Because it's very difficult to do anything when you're really sick. That's another good way. Are you taking care of yourself ultimately? I also, one of my definitions of success is, am I still growing? Am I reading? Am I trying to plug into things? Am I continuing my education in some way? The things I want to learn, Am I plugged in with some people who are interesting enough where they're adding to my life? That's some of the growth that I think about. How much are you helping other people? Are you so bogged down with your own things that you have no time to help others? I think that's one way I define success. A couple of trophies. I mean, sure, why not have a couple of different things? I would love the brand new Corvette. I have enough cash to go get it. I don't want to. I'm like, that seems really dumb, right now. But what if I doubled that pile? Maybe tripled it. I have a funny story. I was parked. So it was when my studio was downtown Grayslake. A white Lamborghini pulls up, parks across the street, right in the middle of the street. It's like blocking the traffic. Okay, you kind of had to go around it. And I'm like, who is that? Why are they doing that? They were dropping off their lady at the beauty salon, whatever. And I'm like, well, if he parks, I'm going to talk to him. So he parked, and he actually came across. And he was walking toward me, and I'm like, all right, I have to ask you a question. What do you do for? So I'm a business owner, and I said, what do you do for a living, and how much money do you actually have to buy that car? And he was really cordial. He understood what I was asking ultimately, and he said, I'm a business owner. He did something with a seal coating of garages, and he sold his company to a venture capitalist for I know the number. Well, let's just say it doesn't matter. We'll never meet this guy. He sold it for $14 million. Sold the business, gone like that. And he's like, he always wanted a Lamborghini, and his accountant said, you can afford one now, right? Because you can just go buy it. It's not going to affect you. Because I've always said, you can't. Your first $250,000 that you save should not go buy you a Lamborghini. Because I heard they're like $3,000 just to change the oil on things. Like, they're incredibly difficult to maintain and very expensive to maintain. So you got to be smart with your money, right? Okay, so I think about that. But that's a trophy. I mean, that's kind of cool, especially if you have multiple of them, But I mean, I can barely afford this Rolex watch. So
hold that up for the camera.
Yeah, don't zoom in too much, Mike, because it's a fake.
But, it's a Rolex.
It's a Rolex.
I've heard of those.
Timu Rolex.
Yeah, exactly. But it looks good. It looks like the Daytona. I think I've told this story before on the podcast. A real Rolex Daytona, the cheapest I can find is $25,000. I'm like, But then I found it on the internet, this like one that looks like it, kinda. For $19. And I think nope, it is not ticking. So
that's good, because when we cut this together, they won't.
Exactly.
At least it's right twice a day.
Don't use it. Yeah, exactly. It's right twice a day. And all those little tiny dials, which looks really cool, they don't do anything. They're just always stuck there. Another way,
so people can't read analog clocks anymore.
Yeah, right. Okay, so I think another thing is, do you have enough time to like mentor other people?
Yeah.
How much can you, and then ultimately, how can you contribute? Contribute to young people who are on their way and all that. If you're so bogged down and you got too much debt and you're constantly chasing money and you're just like kind of a jerk, or you contribute nothing to society, that's why I don't like the trophy wives kind of thing. It just bothers me. Like, they're contributing nothing. They're just, I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it, they're parasites, because that's one of my favorite words. They're just like a leech. They're not, they don't earn it. I'm talking about, and you know who you are.
Hand over, quick.
And I guarantee. I guarantee. Yeah, make it chaotic. Make it chaotic. Who is it?
I make a good trophy wife.
This is what I do know.
I'll be honest.
They're not watching this podcast.
They're not watching. It's okay. We can say whatever we want. They're not watching.
They're not watching anyway. Okay, go ahead.
One of the things that speaks to me about all those, I'm gonna attempt to bring it back to something serious. Capacity.
Yes.
Each of those has a capacity or speaks to having capacity, having bandwidth with your time, having bandwidth with your responsibilities such that you could go and help somebody else because you have that room. Finances, not certainly having more from which to spend or to make purchases than is going out the door towards debts and things. It's interesting. It does that is a good way, I think, for a lot of people to conceptualize success. It's okay, how you could then ask, okay, well, how much is enough? And I think for each person that answer would vary. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's a through line that I'm seeing between each of those. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Your thoughts, Chris? My thoughts on trophy wives? Do you have thoughts? Do you have trophy wives? No and no. Can you ask the question again? I was not paying attention. So I was just curious your thoughts on Steve's values. I had pointed out that there's kind of an underlying kind of theme that I'm seeing there. But I was just curious if you had any thoughts on that or on the concept of measuring success. And you can even speak from your own experience on that. Yeah, I think what I love about Steve is that he's constantly trying to improve. And I think that for anyone is a good value to have or a good mindset to have because it's just continually assessing, hey, where am I? Is what I'm doing enough? Is this where I'm supposed to be? And improving and sharpening and moving or getting rid of or getting new habits. And so, yeah, I find that very respectable about you. And I think, too, it's why Ignite is becoming what it is because you have seen that you need it yourself and that you are sharing this value with other people that, hey, learn about yourself, learn what you're good at, dive into what makes you, figure out what you want to get and how you're going to get it, and be able to be satisfied with hey, I was here, then I did this and I did that, and now I'm here, and be satisfied with that. I like the way that you talk about, like a car or something. You're saying it's a trophy, hey, I earned it. I think a lot of times people are like, oh, that would be nice to have, or it's well, figure out how to get it then, and then it's kind of a mark in the sand more than it's a showing off, but to yourself, I think a lot of times people see that and they're like, I want to show off on it. It's no, I did this thing, I worked at this thing, and I wanted to do this, and I was able to accomplish it, and so I feel the satisfaction of that, and so I think that is another, admirable thing, and something that this program really is all about, trying to accomplish your goals and dreams. Mm-hmm. The framing of that I thought was helpful. I feel like there are kind of two extremes on the idea of trophies. It's okay, either you detest them and look down on people who put value in them because it's conceited, it's self-centered, it's all about you, right? Mm-hmm. And so therefore I could never have a trophy because that would just mean that I'm each of those things. I'm just self-obsessed and all that. Or there's kind of the viewpoint of the people who are a little self-obsessed and just get those trophies because it's actually a true statement about them, and they don't think anything else of it. But there's a happy middle ground. I don't know. I feel like you can have a trophy and it can mean something to you without meaning everything to you. So I like that. I like that. That's a point of agreement in the panel here. Mm-hmm. A question that I had for both of you, open panel question here. I want to get some good answers from both of you here. What highly successful person, and you get to decide what that means, and they can be living or historical, what would you most like to interview and why? So just a one-on-one conversation. You have them and you can chat with them. You can ask anything, but they're a highly successful person. That's something you admire about them. What names come to mind?
For me, immediately, as Chris is thinking over there, Brian Tracy would be one of the first ones, or Darren Hardy, mentors that have helped me through books and video series and stuff like that, and things I watch on the internet. I would love to interview them because it would give me an opportunity to have them look at what the kind of stuff that I'm doing and how could I, like, very specifically, because when you write a book, it's a little bit more broad, a little wide cast. And this, I think it would be like very specific. Hey, this is what you should be doing next. Concentrate on these 5 things, whatever that might be, something like that. I think, once I was be able to explain that and then get like immediate personal, like energy from them as well. It's cool to watch them online and then read their books, but to actually have them sit there looking at you, listening to what you have to say, and then to give you some sort of feedback. I think that would be pretty awesome, quite frankly. Yeah.
Advice, feedback, pointers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can get all that from them. Wisdom.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Chris, how about you?
Did you say dead or alive?
Yeah, dead or alive.
Okay, good.
500.
I'm gonna pick Steve's grandma. No. Two people came to mind. One of them alive is John Mark Comer, who's just an author that I really respect and love the way he talks about spiritual topics specifically. Just think it'd be a great conversation. And what he does, what I love about what he writes about is it's very practical. I think a lot of times people are very like theological and have all this understanding about God and how things work in the world, but he makes it very practical. And how can we live out our lives? What am I doing today? My daily practices and my rhythms in my life and that kind of stuff. And so I love the way he talks about that, and I'd love to, again, pick his brain about some of those kinds of topics of the kinds of rhythms and how did you get into that, and kind of more of a deep dive of like, what did it really take to give up these things and get into this? And so I really love that. And then the second person I thought of was John Wooden, who is a basketball coach. Very successful basketball coach who has his pyramid of success, and he is just one of the founders of like, how do you build a team? How is a team supposed to work? And then be able to like create a model that is like replicable. And I just love to pick his brain again about team building, especially in the basketball world, of like what were some of the challenges of that, and how did he end up coming to understand all of these principles, as well as a Christian, kind of bringing in that aspect of like, how did God make you? What's God's plan for a team? What is a team? How's a team work and function together? Like the church or the people as a body, So there's some cool stuff in there that I would love to have talked to him. But he's got plenty of books, so I'll be doing.
Get to know him a little bit through that, right?
You definitely do, which is cool.
Yeah. And who's the author of the first one? Is that the Practicing the Way guy?
Practicing the Way, yeah.
And another book that you gave me, I have it right
Garden City.
Garden City. It's a great book.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like it. Very practical. You're right.
Yeah.
And it's humorous. And it seems just really real.
Very light. It feels very light. Yet he's getting into some. The way he writes is very. I've just finished another one. I'm about to. I'm like 30 minutes away.
How many books does he have?
I don't know. 8, 9.
For real, that many?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
52 times 2.
No. Too soon, Mike.
Yeah.
No one gets that joke. We're already 45 minutes into the podcast.
They forgot about that.
They forgot about that already.
45 minutes ago.
Yeah, exactly.
How
about you? You got a quick answer?
Yeah. I've got a couple names that come to mind. So one historical and one living. I would absolutely love to talk to Winston Churchill. So recent history. I would absolutely love to get his impression on like the events of his time. I think it would be fascinating to hear what motivated him like as a leader. Like what are like in any situation, what were his top objectives? Like what was like the guiding light. I'm always going to do this. I'm always going to think of this. I'm always going to put this spin on what I need to do in order to get this done. Like I would just really, I don't know, to hear it directly from him would be super cool. Mm-hmm. And then Tony Robbins, man with incredible energy. Would definitely love to talk to that guy. Yeah. And just he's super insightful. I think I don't think there's anybody that's had a conversation with him that's walked away not different. Mm-hmm. So those are my answers.
I like it. Good answers.
A couple other questions for you, Steve.
Yes.
And these ones I just kind of want to get your. I'm trying to like get inside your head with these questions and just kind of see how you see the world. And so one of them is just kind of like a social question. If you walked into a room full of your friends, how would you like to hear them describing you? Maybe they were, somebody was like, "Oh, Steve's running a few minutes late," haha, and then they're like, but one thing that I really like about Steve, or one thing that I always think about with Steve, how would you like to hear people describe you? What would they say?
I would love the word to be words. He is so encouraging. He's very inspiring. And he's hilarious. Super fun. Like the funniest person I've ever met. Like of all the funny people, he would be like the king of the funny people. Like king of funny people. Or like the champion of champions funny. Like super funny. How would help me describe how funny I could be?
Next
like,
level funny.
Next level funny.
Next
Like
level.
that.
Elite
Like
level.
yeah, just
Like,
Steve, you hang out with people who are far too funny for this to be your life goal. You need to hang out with less funny people.
I need to hang out with less funny people.
I would describe
but
you
you're
as
serious.
funny.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. You would describe me as funny, just funny?
I wouldn't mention any
So
sort
all the
of...
words that you ramble off and the poetry that comes out of your mouth, you just say, yeah, he's funny.
I was going to say sort of funny, but...
Sort of funny. Okay, so I've been reading the thesaurus. Okay, I can say the word. I have a teacher friend of mine. She's not even looking at me at this
Speaking
point.
of thesauruses...
She's shaking her head. I don't know why.
Thesaurusi.
Anyway, she gave me a thesaurus, and she said, you need to read this to better get your language up higher. So I thought of a word. I thought of a word instead of just funny. I'm going to say really funny.
Hey!
Nice, huh?
That's under R, right? Really?
Okay, I would say that. I want to be like a helper for inspiration, visionary. Come up with some ideas. Let's see how we can make that happen. Like I'm a doer, and I'll even run alongside you for a little while. Because I like accomplishment, and if I can help someone do that, that's kind of what I want to be known for. You know, I'll go with those answers.
That's awesome, man. Definitely a solid legacy, right? If you could leave that behind. And then how would you like God to describe you? If he were speaking about you, what would he say?
Good try.
Good try.
the flatulator.
The flatulator.
Oh my. The
I
Almighty coming in hot there.
I don't know. That's a very humbling question, actually. And I would just like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I love that song, Imagine. I don't know what I'm going to do in his presence, right?
I ask because, I know that's something that's important to you.
Yeah.
And, we can, obviously we all want to be described a certain way by our friends. We all kind of feel like there's certain things that it would be nice if people said about us. I feel like the voice that matters the most is the one that we maybe, it's in some ways it's a really challenging question to answer. It is the voice that matters the most. For me, it's like the "well done, my good and faithful servant" kind of thing. Like that's what I would want him to say, to me and about me, right?
Okay, so yes, so that would be wonderful, and that's kind of why I said, like maybe he wouldn't say "well done, good and faithful servant." He would be like, "Well, Steve's here. You needed Jesus. Good enough," or good try. But Jesus is the reason why you're here. I say that humbly. I'm trying my best. I think in the last 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, something like that. 6, 7, 8 years. I've grown. Like I know my top 2 major sins, and I got a really good stronghold and grip on my number 1. I would like to say I'm sanctified, but it's still working on it. But it's nothing like it used to be. And then my second biggest sin is my mouth. I have a hard time controlling some of the words because, I'm human. And then I try to think about like my third and fourth sins. I don't know. They're not as glaring. They're not as obvious to me, right?
You should ask Leah.
Yeah. What would you say there? Too much of a giver?
Too many
Is that what you said?
pomegranate
Did you just
jokes?
say I'm too much of a
You're always
giver?
wanting to put pomegranates inside. I don't know. It's like a thing.
I like poison things with
Why does that come up
pomegranates.
so much anyway?
Exactly. Okay.
No, well, I just to wrap that up, because that
Yeah.
is a hard question,
Yeah.
but I do feel like I got some insight into your head. Like you would want him to say, like, you've improved, you've tried, you've that you took this seriously, right? Like those are things you'd want to hear, and well done for those efforts, right? Those are things you'd want to hear.
Yeah, that's why I think so. Yes,
absolutely.
Chris, what do you think? You're the pastor. You're the only
About
pastor
what
at
he's
this.
going to say to you.
Well, let me say.
Yeah, I mean, well done, right? Well done, good, faithful servants. That's what we're all looking for. I think just like you kept the faith, you know, like you ran the race. And so, yeah, I don't know. It is a humbling thought, you know, and but it's a journey, you know, and we never quite finish it. So that's exciting, but it's also it's intimidating. So I think that's kind of where I'm like, just keep swimming.
Yeah, yeah,
right.
One of my favorite songs. There's a lyric, and I believe it's written. I won't name it in case it's not about this, but I believe it's written essentially with this in mind, and it's like, I'm not done with you yet. Like that's one of the things that I would like to hear. I think directly from God is like, you know, you're not there, but I'm not done with you yet.
Yep.
That's great.
For sure.
Anything from the studio audience? That's a pretty deep topic.
I don't know. I'm just listening to age differences too, and I don't know if that has something to do with it as I get older. And I think of when I see God, it's more of I'm just falling into His arms and Him just telling me He loves me and I am home now, you know, because I think it's a hard road to trudge and you know, just that I don't know, I think of that like the prodigal son, and he didn't come home and his dad didn't say, well done, good and faithful servant, but his dad rejoiced at the sight of him and ran out to meet him. And I think it's just, you know, as we get older, life weighs us down, and is it, you know, but that's not the measure that God's looking at. I think that's kind of what you were saying of, you know, nice try, Neilson, but you're here because of Jesus. And, you know, I think that's part of it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Steve, thank you so much
Sure.
for this interview. I really appreciate it. It was fun to ask you some of the questions that I've been planning for a while, and yeah, you had some fantastic answers. A lot of insight to dissect there, and yeah, if people are curious about the program or are just kind of trying to figure out what to do next, where would you direct them?
To the link below. Follow us on the link
Check the
below.
link
You'll
below.
see some of the social stuff that we're doing, as well as the website. And I would say it right now, but I can't remember what it is. It's probably super funny, awesome, ignite, impactful living or something.
Really funny.
All kidding aside, it's liveimpactfully.com.
liveimpactfully.com.
Smash that like button, ring the little bell, comment below, tell us your favorite color, pomegranate.
Yes. And with that, thank you everyone for watching.
Okay, go ahead.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
We're vibing here.
Do you want me to restart
Yeah.
that?
So go ahead and ask that question again.
I
Yeah.
started the cameras, but you guys can restart it. We're fine.
The beans are cooking.
The beans are cooking.
Pomegranate's cooking.
I can go with some
What made you
pomegranate.
think pomegranates?
Because it could be something you would throw into a soup.
It's a flavor that you might pick up.
No, I said it could be.
Could be.
Sure, so it could be
Hey.
like a car battery.
That's what I was
I'm gonna Google it, and if I find even one recipe, Steve will be vindicated. Okay, Google.
Yes, look it up, please. Pomegranate
ChatGPT.
soup. I bet there's something. I bet
We don't
it's.
need AI for this, JK.
AI it
Mikey,
might.
Mikey,
I
we're
kinda would
rolling.
appreciate the
What's up?
We're rolling?
crunchiness of a
Yeah,
pomegranate
I think
in a
this is-
soup.
Oh, don't
What are you
don't
trying to do?
bandwagon this.
No. I would appreciate the crunchiness of a pomegranate in a soup. I think that would
Do you
be.
eat
Listen.
the seeds?
That's what a pomegranate is.
Wait, hold on.
No, you eat the fruit around the seed, right?
You
Wait,
don't.
hold
You
on.
eat the seeds.
You eat the
What?
pomegranate seeds. That's the
What are
whole
you
point.
nibbling?
Yes.
Like,
You're
That's how
supposed
I
to
did
just
it.
eat the seeds with a spoon or something.
What?
What? I've never done it that way.
When people eat pomegranate,
what? No, that's the only way you eat a pomegranate.
Has anyone in here ever eaten a pomegranate? All right.
have you eaten what part of the pomegranate?
What
have
part?
you eaten?
I eat the seed, like not the seed, just the
Red part.
red part.
The red
Around
part,
the
seeds.
seeds?
Yes.
You spit the seed out.
No, you eat the whole thing.
You eat the whole thing.
Comment below how to eat a pomegranate.
Yes.
It's not in a stew.
comment below your favorite pomegranate soup recipes.
Recipe. I want to see some good recipes. I want to see a lot of them.
Tart crunch to soups.
What? It's AI though.
A staple in Persian.
That's where I'm from. You guys know that.
pomegranate
I
soup.
never doubted your
Ashe-
Persian roots,
ashe
Steve.
anar.
What? Honestly, though? Okay.
Honestly, Persian pomegranate soup.
Fantastic.
Potluck.
bringing it
Potluck
pot-
on Saturday.
Freeze dry it, send it
I
to my
think I know
studio.
where we're going for dinner after this. Like,
Right,
honestly.
Persian.
Do you know a Persian place nearby?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
JoJo's right down.
Persian.
JoJo's.
JoJo's Persian
The bar,
Persian
the bar
pomegranate.
and grill.
Bar and grill.
Who needs to apologize? Chris or JK? Who was wrong?
I think we
Comment
all
below who was wrong.
I mean, hey, I'm sorry that I made fun of your pomegranate soup.
No, you're not.
I'm not at all.
This is
It's
not a place for
ridiculous.
false apologies.
It's ridiculous.
My apologies love language has accepted your apology.
Wow.
Thank you.
All I had to do is hear it. I don't care about the genuineness.
I don't care if it was real.
Really?
Wow.
Is that true?
I don't know.
I think I could get away with a lot.
Yeah.
Actually.